Welcome to Design Domination, where you'll gain confidence, clarity, and a competitive edge in a crowded marketplace so you can dominate your competition. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Colleen Grotzer, and in this episode of Design Domination, I'm talking about the biggest accessibility mistake that designers make and how to avoid it. Did you know, as a document or website designer, that you could do one simple and not very technical thing to make your designs so much more visually accessible to sighted users? It's true, and that is to check the contrast of your designs. Stick around to find out the impact this can have on your design work and how to easily check contrast in your designs to make them more accessible. Almost every year, WebAIM assesses the accessibility of the top 1 million homepages. And in their 2024 report, they found that 81% of the ones they assessed have low contrast text. Now, here's why this is such a big problem. First of all, think about how many people use websites and what they do. Someone might need to find out more about a company or a product or service. They might need to search for how to do something. They might need to log into their bank account. They might want to make a donation. They might want to order food or shop for products. They might need to fill out a contact or an application form. Now, if a sighted user has low vision or another type of visual disability, they might struggle with doing these things. And worse, they may not be able to do them at all. You might say, well, they could just enlarge the text on their monitor or zoom in on their phone. But viewing low contrast text at a larger size doesn't mean it's necessarily more readable. The other thing is that many websites have zoom disabled, so it's not even always possible to do that. Now, the issue of low contrast text is also not specific to web design. We just don't have any statistics, to my knowledge anyway, about the contrast of digital documents, but they are important too, and I see issues with them all the time. Think about the effect of low contrast text in a document, right? You could have an annual report that tells stories and provides financial information, and that might entice people to donate to an organization. You might have a report with medical results. You might have a report with infographics. You might have an instructional guide, a travel or sales brochure, a map, and so forth. And actually, you could also apply contrast to package designs. There's a product I buy all the time, and it uses white text on a light blue background that says free from. And then after that in black, it lists a bunch of allergens. Well, if you cannot see the white text that says free from, you might actually think that that product contains those allergens, not is free from them. And that would mean someone wouldn't buy it if they were concerned about those ingredients, right? So how does that affect sales? You might also think, well, but the majority of users will be able to read low contrast text. Maybe, maybe not. I don't have a visual disability, but I cannot read a lot of low contrast text, I'll tell you that. I often see white text on a yellow background or white text on a light blue background. And hey, I'm guilty of doing that too as a designer before I knew better. You might say you're going for a subtle kind of look for the design, right? Or minimalist design, but many people won't be able to read that text. So then what's the point? You might also think that we're talking about a minority of people here. But get this, 2.2 billion people worldwide have a visual disability, such as refractive errors, cataract, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, and macular degeneration, just to name a few. I haven't even brought up color blindness yet. That affects 1 in 12 males and 1 in 200 females. That might not sound like a lot of people, but get this. Color blindness affects 350 million people worldwide. That is the same size as the population of the United States. People with color blindness could really have a hard time understanding any kind of data graphics or any kind of instructions or other content that relies on color to understand it. Ensuring sufficient contrast can help with some of that, but there are other things to take into consideration too. But I'll get into that more in a future episode. Now, there are quite a few contrast checkers out there, and some are great for different purposes. Some contrast checking tools are available as a website, as a downloadable app. They might be built into an app. They might be a web browser extension or even a script. And, something to keep in mind, because I hear this all the time, is that designers think that they can't use certain colors. But keep in mind that no color is inherently inaccessible. It's always about how two colors are used together. So you're not limited in your color choices at all. Okay, so one that I often use is the TPGI Color Contrast Analyzer. You can use this contrast checker to check websites, documents, infographics. I mean, really anything on your monitor. So here's how that works. Let's open up the Color Contrast Analyzer. And like I said, you can put in the hexadecimal values for any two colors. I'll use the codes for my brand colors, the blue and orange. It gives you the sample preview, and it will show you if they pass or fail. And so this says it passes for 4.5 to 1. And so typically you're going to be looking at AA unless you have a stricter requirement of AAA. So you can see here it says it passes for regular text and it passes for large text. Well, to be considered large text, text needs to be at least 14 points and bold, or approximately 18.66 pixels and bold, or 18 points any weight, or approximately 24 pixels any weight. So if we look here, we can see that this color combination passes for regular text and large text. Now you can also sample with this. So we'll sample this text color here, the light blue, and then we'll sample the background color, which is white. This has a contrast ratio of 3.1 to 1. So this fails for regular sized text and it passes for large text. Well, this is 19 points and bold, so this is acceptable for large text. We could not use this blue for the body text though, because that is only 10.5 points. So this is an easy way to make your design so much more accessible to sighted individuals with visual disabilities and without. Was this helpful? Let me know and share your favorite contrast checker if you have one. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to help me get this content out to more designers. Are you confused about where to get started with accessibility? Check out my free guides, podcast episodes, free training, and courses. Go to creative-boost.com/accessibility.